last few months hasn't been the best for Australian cricket. They lost the three legends of the game.
I think his standout innings was he scored 143 in a World Cup against Pakistan when the
Yes.
pitch were.
This episode of Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast is sponsored by Four Pillars Gin. My name's Veda and I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. How's your week been, Bora?
Good with us. Just been a quiet week as usual, but recording here for another episode with the Sri Lanka Cricket Podcast, and good to be here. How about yourself?
Yeah, same here. We woke up to a very sad news this morning on a Sunday in Australia. The shocking news of the tragic death of Andrew Symonds, the former Australian all-rounder. He was involved in a car crash up in Townsville and last night, and he has succumbed to his injuries and sadly passed away. Symonds is a true Aussie legend. Bora, he has won 2 World Cups. I'm in shock because this is the third death of a ex-Australian cricketer in the last few months.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate with that news trickling in, with a lot of tributes flowing in on social media. When Andrew Symonds, I think, was one of those players who was a strong all-round, and T20, it was a very good performing T20 as well. I think his standout innings was he scored 143 in a World Cup against Pakistan when the
Yes.
pitch were on.
2003 World Cup in South Africa.
I think he was the replacement they took on for Shane Warne.
Yeah.
But he was a superb, one of the guys who I've seen who I think had the strongest arm in the outfield. Had a rocket throw, and I think we see by the tributes that are flowing in. True legend, unfortunate with what had happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's truly a team man. Bora, if you ask him to bowl medium pace, he'll bowl medium pace for you. And if you want him to bowl low spin, he'll bowl low spin. And as you said, he was electric in the field and a great human being as well. I think he's a typical Aussie bloke who loves outdoors and loves a good time, and that's the brand of cricket he played in the middle, and he has brought lots of success to Australian cricket because I don't think he has ever changed his game. As you said, against Pakistan, I think he walked in when they were 4 down for 40 or something like that, and he ended up playing a magnificent innings, and they went on and won that World Cup. Yeah, he's a great loss for the game, and I mean, I still can't believe it. I mean, I remember there was one game against Sri Lanka in Australia where our friend Muba bowled to him and he hit hard going past the non-striker, and it hit Michael Clarke on full and ended up being a catch to mid-wicket to TM Dilshan, and this guy got out and walking off, smile on his face, and he's signaling, "You owe me a beer" to Michael Clarke. I mean, he's that type of a bloke. I can call him like he had that Andrew Flintoff effect in Australia, where Andrew Flintoff had a big following after the Ashes success in 2005. And I think after that 2003 and 2007 World Cup wins, I think Andrew Symonds had that same effect for the kids growing up in Australia. So he was that iconic player, who went out there and hit sixes and could take run-outs and take wickets and have a good time. And with his hair and his celebrations with the zinc on his lips, I mean, fantastic player. I mean, our thoughts are with his family. I mean, they must be devastated. Last few months hasn't been the best for Australian cricket. They lost the 3 legends of the game.
Yeah, our respects and thoughts go out to the Australian cricket fraternity as well as to Andrew Symonds' family. in this tough moment. Something we'd like to move on with into the program today would be to discuss some topics about Sri Lanka, because our boys are back in action. So hoping to cover a bit more on that. So we've got Bangladesh Test Series starting already. So first day of the Test match today. We'll talk more in detail about that. We'll cover the IPL because it's at the back end of the tournament, and a bit more of some topics in cricket that we'd like to discuss.
Yeah, I think let's start with the first test match in Bangladesh, Bora. We are nearing towards the end of the third session as we speak, and Sri Lanka batting first. They are on 246 at the moment, with Angelo Matthews scoring 100, 111 not out, and Chandimal 25 not out at the crease. Earlier today, Kusal Mendis scored a half century as well. And looking at the team, Bora, they have announced a team of 12 day before the game, and they left out Praveen Jayavikrama, who was in that 12. So they went in with Asita Fernando, who is a fast bowler. So at one point, I was thinking whether they'll go with one fast bowler into this test match. So they changed their mind and decide otherwise. What do you think about the team composition?
Yeah, I think looking at the pitch and having a little bit of grass, I mean, more grass than the usual Bangladesh pitchers would have put it in favor of Asita, whereas if it was a more bare pitch, Praveen would have played.
Yeah.
The good thing is Sri Lanka won the toss and did bat first, which was a good sign as well. Sometimes we kind of put the bluff on in subcontinent by throwing a bit of greenery and getting the opposition to, if they win the toss, to bowl. But in away series, something I've noticed is if you can win the first game toss, it does go a long way in your favor, because a lot of touring teams struggle. Like even in Sri Lanka, when teams come, as soon as they lose the toss, it's a tough road from there. So the Mut's done well there to win the toss. I was hoping he'd dig in and score a big score, but I mean the
Missed
rest.
out.
The rest of the guys have been chipping in. Angelo Matthews, I think it is 1200. So it's good to see he looked more composed. I think a few of the test knocks just leading up to this, I know it spread out between some time, but he just looked a bit more loose. So he seems to have knuckled down a bit more. And the boys are put in a partnership. So if this pair can put up another close to 100 plus partnership, that should put us in the driving seat to control the game from there. Going back to the team composition, I think it was a right call. Perhaps they were thinking they would have gone with the combination of batters that Bangladesh have. I think they've got 4 top order left-hand batters.
Left-handers,
and then the right-handers. So they would have said grass on the pitch, or looks slightly greener there, or I mean just a good covering. And that composition would have paid in their favor. So I think they've made the right call there, because Lasit Ambuldenia would bowl, major part of the overs. Ramesh is back, and then you have the quicks and Dhananjay De Silva in between to support with a bit of part-time spin. So not a bad combination instead of going down that all spin attack and a fast bowler. So I think it's a positive move with that 11.
Going in with one fast bowler, I mean, that's something you can do only in goal, Bora. I mean, remember a few games where Suranga Lakmal, he'll bowl a couple of overs, then just take a few days off because the spinners take over from there. Ocha Fernando made a comeback and he opened the batting with Dimuth, and he made a start, but he couldn't kick on. He got out for 36. As you said, like first innings runs is the key. Playing in subcontinent, so even though it's a bit slow going for us, it's less than 3 runs per over, which is not normal in modern day Test cricket. But the main thing is we haven't lost many wickets, and we have Niroshan Dikwal to come in next, and Ramesh Mendis can bat as well. So maybe what are we looking at? Try to get 400, Bora?
Yeah, I think get to 400 would be the number. And I think, I don't know whether it's a strategy that the guys would have talked about, but using a bit of time in a subcontinent test match is not a bad thing, because a lot of the test matches don't go over 5 days. So setting up at a stronger base at the start and you making use of the 5 days means fourth innings batting becomes a lot harder. They're trying to, I think, make use of that, because for Sri Lanka, get 20 wickets, we'll need a strong score so that we don't put the pressure back onto us and then having to fight in the third innings to stay alive in a game. So in that aspect, I think taking a bit of time is not a bad thing, because Angelo can score big runs. Chandimal, his test record's is pretty good for a guy who bats at number 6, so at that position. So if they can get in, Dikwella generally scores at a good rate, which goes around the 80-90 strike rate, which is what we need from the lower order. We might be able to catch up to that 400 at a good rate if they set up the base right.
400, then get them out twice. So that's the plan. We'll keep an eye on the game for the next few days, and maybe we'll do an episode close to the finish of the game, or hopefully when Sri Lanka win the game. Pora, we might have to.
We'll keep an eye out. We need with my, I guess, I've got 2 things now. I just realized because there was an ICC tweet asking how many runs Dimuk will score, and I said 220. So Dimuk has a lot of catching up to do. So we'll bat in the third innings so that he can get his scores up. And Sri Lanka to win 2-0. So we'll keep an eye out how the game progresses. But so far we seem to be doing well in the game.
Yeah, good start for our new coaching staff as well. So maybe they brought the luck back into our test team. Should we move on to IPL? But things are getting interesting in the IPL. As of now, Gujarat, Lucknow, Rajasthan, and RCB are the top 4. But Delhi and Punjab still have a chance to make the top 4 with 2 games remaining. And our very own Wanindu is proving his class and showing that he's worth all the money they've spent on him. And he's peaking at the right moment to become the purple cap holder. His highest wicket taker now, and he's ready for playoffs.
I think what do I say? I'll start with the teams, which those guys that you said. I think Punjab Kings and Delhi Capitals are pushing for a last minute spot up there. My feeling is Gujarat, I think they've sealed their spot, so they'll be in. Lucknow should make it. RCB and Delhi Chargers, I have a feeling, might sneak in. Rajasthan Royals, not sure if they'll fall off the top 4, but because of the 3 teams I back at the moment, RCB.
RCB, that's my team, bro.
Yeah, so LSG, RCB, and Delhi Capital. Sorry, I need to tell you. So Delhi comes to the ladder and will come there. So I'm picking those 3 in with Gujarat Titans. But RCB, just coming back to RCB setup, Wanidu, you're right. They've spent money really, and they've made a good win on it, I guess, because they sold
Chahal.
Chahal. So Wanidu pretty much became the leading spinner, and he's lived up to that name. So to see him on top of that group, which is top of the wicket tally, is a good testament of his skill set. And RCB still somehow getting the job done without Virat Kohli, contributing massively. So come the big games, there might be a bit of a kick in Kohli to get the boys the big win they need. So I don't think the management will be really worried that Kohli is not scoring, but I think it might. There is a turn around the corner pretty close by, so we'll keep an eye out how he goes.
Yeah, the other player of the RCB team I keep a close eye on is Josh Hazelwood. He bowls at back of a length, and he hardly go for any runs. But in the last game, the England pair of Bairstow and Livingstone, got under his skin, and he went for 64 runs in his 4 overs. That's the most expensive spell in this IPL season. So I'm a bit worried because that those 4 overs, RCB bank on those 4 overs for him to bowl under 30 runs. So I'm starting to think whether have the teams worked out a way to score against him.
Not a bad call. They would have done a bit of work, and this would have been a 1 game plan that the Punjab team had in mind, and it seemed to have worked. So they might have figured out a small mechanism to overcome Hazelwood. So we'll keep an eye out how he progresses, but Hazelwood's a quality bowler that he might come into the play a lot more. He'll work something out. With Wanidu, going back to Wanidu's progress, I was on RCB socials, there was a small video they released about Wanidu and how he's settling into the camp and whatnot. And they did touch base because Sriram is the he's an assistant coach in that camp. He's worked with the Australian team here as well. So he's a consultant player coach for the spin department. So he was talking about how technically they've introduced some changes to Wanidu. It has they are seeing a bit of a difference in his skill sets, which they talk about how he's improved his stats or his effectiveness against left-handers. They talk about change they made in the run-ups. So I think I loved watching that small video they released, because it talks how much a player can still develop themselves even through playing in the international circuit. I really Vani because of him being a spinner, and I understand a bit more having that coverage. But same would apply for Dushmantha Chamira as well. We would see some really big advancement in his game set, where he's acquired more skills and understanding of how to handle a situation. So it's definitely benefited Sri Lanka as a whole, because those key players do play some good key roles for Sri Lanka. The batting, Chamika would have learned a lot. He's not playing, but he's he could be a big understudy to Andre Russell, just learning how some of the tricks or the game plans that he goes through are. He'll be a big sponge next to Andre Russell and trying to learn as much as he can and understand, because that's a massive all-rounder in the game in that camp. But going back to the IPL group standings, RCB with hopefully can come up. They can to, I think, slide into the top 4. If they slide into the top 4, you never know, they might sneak it in.
They'll have to win the next game, Bora. They played 13 games, won 7. So
It's
They
now,
can,
yeah,
because all the other teams have 2 games.
yeah,
So the Delhi Capitals have 2 games, and Kings 11 has Punjab has 2 games, and teams on top, Gujarat, Lucknow, and Rajasthan, they also have 2 games in their hands.
yeah,
So if RCB lose the next one, they will not make the top 4.
yeah,
So they'll have to win
yeah.
the next one to be on the safe side. So yeah, it's
There you
getting
go.
interesting, because we want. I mean, I would love to see Bhanuka play in the playoffs as well, because he's a regular in that team, and
Yeah,
when you come towards the end of the tournament, you don't normally change a team,
yeah,
and so that gives you confidence as well. I mean, at the start of the season, he wasn't sure whether he's going to play or not, and he start in the latter part of the tournament, you can see his confidence. He has the confidence to play his natural game. But I want RCB to be in the top 4 as well, so it's a tricky one. So we'll see. We'll find out in next
yeah.
couple of days.
That's the entertainment end of the IPL. International cricket will slowly get on the map. I just want to touch base the new announcement for English cricket with the Test team being coached by Brendan McCullum.
Yep.
Ben Stokes going to lead that charge. Australia, there is a bit of uncertainty at the moment where they are monitoring Sri Lanka's ground situation. So they say chances are the tour will go ahead, but it's still on the back of the head. But I think in Sri Lanka, there's been a new prime minister announced and a few changes that are. So
I think it should be okay, Bora. I think the tour will go ahead.
Yeah, we need. I think Sri Lanka cricket will. I think try to work with Cricket Australia to show them, look, it's a safe environment, and Sri Lanka definitely needs Australia to tour out there. The wider picture of Sri Lanka as an economy and whatnot. So hope that'll go ahead. Suranga Lakma's taking the wickets as we go along. He's going in through. So
I'll quickly check the scores. He has taken 15 wickets so far. I mean, that was yesterday. What's the first innings? Give me a second. He has taken 1 in the first innings.
Yeah.
So lots of overs again. 26 overs. Yeah.
It's a batting season for the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. And he has taken a wicket in the second innings as well. So I think this is the 3rd day of the match. No, day 4. Sorry. So last day. Might grab a couple more. I mean, interesting, the appointment of Brendan McCullum. I mean, he was the last person he was not even in the mix of things, and I was surprised to see his name popped up. It'll be interesting. I mean, interesting duo. Both are very attacking cricketers, very how do you say it, flamboyant cricketers. They like doing things their way. So it'll be. Brendan McCullum was one captain who come up with these strange field placings when he was captaining New Zealand over the years, and it'll be interesting to see how these two go. And new director of cricket, Rob Key, and lots of changes in England cricket. This summer will be interesting.
Yeah, they've identified a few things they need to fix up. So slow, bit by bit, they've put it in place, but it'll take a bit of time to see the results. We still don't know how England will play. Still the first game's done and dusted. We pretty much wouldn't know which way they'll play, what changes they've introduced. But definitely focus has gone back into red ball cricket, how they want to come back and make a change into the game that has where the emphasis has fallen away into red ball cricket. So it'll be a good summer to follow with English cricket. See what are the changes there.
Not too long now. We are nearly there. The international summer starts very soon, so we'll keep an eye on England cricket. We are coming towards the end of this episode. There's one question. Well, it's a comment from Damit from Melbourne. He's a keen listener, so he must have heard you saying, I'll read what he sent, because they can charge us with like few question marks. They can charge us. Which year is Bora living? So I think you got the name wrong for Delhi Capitals. You went, they can charge us.
I might have. That's good that there are good listeners out there who can point out the errors. I think I would have over the course made a lot of mispronunciations or wrong names, teams. So apologies for that. Deccan Chargers was, I think, one of the inaugural teams that played. Tamara Silva and Nuan Soisa played for that.
Played. Gilchrist played. Later,
I think
I think they won once.
They won once, and
Andrew Symonds played.
Yes, that's where I was leading to. And I believe Rohit Sharma has a hat trick as a bowler playing for Deccan Chargers, and he took it against Mumbai Indians. So because I think he started as a junior. I mean, in his early years, he played for Deccan. So he does. I'm pretty sure it was Deccan Chargers against Mumbai Indians where he got a hat trick. So, but apologies. Thanks for bringing that up, and it did take us into a small memory lane. Took us back to remember that franchise that was there. Perhaps small questions to ask, but I think we might. I mean, we've had a few franchises change teams or names over time. Dhoni played for a franchise some time back. Mahela played for one. I can't remember what their names are. It's funny.
I think there was like 4 teams where went up and down, and before we wrap up, we'll have to announce a winner from our competition, Bora. It's time to announce the winner of the competition. We had loads of entries on all our social media, and to win that lovely bottle of Bloody Shiraz gin from 4 Pillars. We thank each and every one of you for participating and tagging your friends to have a chance to win this prize. And but we wish we could give everyone a bottle of gin. We can only pick one winner. Maybe next time we can give away a few, Bora.
I mean, we ran the competition over, I think, close to a month or more. And we've had a few listeners or participants sharing likes, tagging friends, creating more awareness about our social page out there as well. So thanks a lot, everyone. And again, in the next few months as well, we'll be producing a few more games or competitions just to get out some more free giveaways. But a winner is one winner, isn't it? You've got to announce one person to get that, who's done a lot of hard work and has shared the word around and done is on top of the ladder, if you were saying, in our only competition that we have. So I'll leave it up to you, Vida, to announce the winner.
So I think her Twitter handle is Upuli, and she goes as Tem Lord. So you are the winner. Congratulations. We'll be in touch with you to get your details so that we can send you your gift. We'll do more competitions in the near future, with other sponsors as well. So keep an eye on our social media for more competitions.
Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us today. Please give us a rating on your preferred podcast app, especially on Apple. We've got a cornerstone liking for Apple to get us up the ladder, and Spotify that I think I've shared it on numerous occasions. I'm more honest. I'm active on the Spotify podcast, so active listener on Spotify. Give us some likes on the podcast channels and get us up above the ladder to where we want to be.
Yeah, and you can check us out on our socials, and please give us a follow, and we love to hear from you, and please keep those questions coming in. You can send them to srilankancricketpodcast@gmail.com, or just send us a message on any of our socials. You can find all the links in our show notes. So we'll see you again next week.
See you guys. Cheers.
All right, bye-bye.